let me welcome everybody to our mini session. We're at session number 13 for salary schedules. My name is Mike Martinez. I work with the Maricopa County School Superintendent's Office. I will be kind of just sitting aside and letting this show being taken over by a couple other people. It is a cool thing today. This is our first mini session in our new tech center, which is sort of our webcast center. We have cameras all over the place. We have giant screen monitors all over the place. It is just a really fun time. And let me kind of stop sharing here because I realized that I am still sharing. So stop share. Aha! All right, there we go. All right, so as I was saying, this is our first time actually using our tech center for this purpose. It was set up kind of what we do specifically in mind. We know that even though hopefully we're getting towards the end of the pandemic, people getting vaccinated and such, we still realize that there's a demand for a lot of online content. So we have this, if you saw Annette's general ledger rollover stuff yesterday, that was in our podcast room. And so this is a much bigger room, kind of conducive when you have multiple presenters all at the same time. But if you got the invite for this particular session, make sure, or if you didn't get the invite for this section, make sure you're signed up for our MCSS mailing list. I'll go ahead and put the link up in the chat once we kind of get going here. There are no documents for this session, so there's nothing to download. There's no additional materials you're going to need. If you miss something, you'll end up watching the video over again. But we're just kind of going to go through salary schedules. It was really big back in the day, and then kind of went away. And then I think it's almost time making a resurgence. A lot of stuff you can do with it. We're going to talk over the different kinds of salary schedules. And that's really going to be handled by Miss Andy and Miss Jill. Ladies, why don't you go ahead and wave hi?
Hello, good morning.
All right, if you guys are ready, Andy, I'm going to go ahead and switch this over to you, and you can start us off with salary schedules, and let's see what we can do here. Right above your mouse. Yeah.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to salary schedules. I hope that everything goes smooth because as soon as I walked in this morning, it did not go smooth. We had issues, but we're going to go over salary schedules. If you're new or you all are a pro to salary schedules, because I was 2 years old that I learned salary schedules. All right. I'm going to go over a regular salary schedule, and then later on in the webinar, Jill will go over min-max and single lane schedules. Right now, this is a salary schedule that I already have somewhat created, and I'll go over all that with you as we go through. But right now, we're going to go into as if you were going to create a new regular salary schedule. You can either right click in the grid, or you can click add up at the top of your toolbar. To create a salary schedule, you'll notice here you have your rows and you have your columns. There's no headers here in your columns until you start typing a name, and then these headers open up. At the top, you can select regular. That's what we will be going over now. And then Jill will go over the min, max, and single lane. You can manually type your amounts into the cells, or you can import. You can rename your rows, you can rename your columns. And to rename your columns, you could either highlight one column, or you can highlight all your columns by holding your shift button down and then clicking on your last column. And you want to go to actions, modify row or column headings, and you'll see that you are in the header, and you can rename ABC. Just going to go over, and it goes to the next column. Do I know my alphabet? And so you guys get that. To modify a row, you could either highlight one row or highlight all your rows. And then by going into modify. Oh, okay. So I learned this when I was going through salary schedules. You have to save everything, any changes you make to your salary schedule, you have to continue to save. So do you want to save the record? Yes. You'll see that it saved it. Click OK, get out of it. Oh, see, there you go. Did it keep mine? It did not.
Cancel, it's behind you.
There it is.
Yep,
You're right.
there it is.
Okay. So if you see something weird like that, go to your salary schedule list and you will find it here. So when you want to rename a row, you can highlight your rows, one row or all together, and then rename actions, modify, and then start naming your rows. You can add a row, or you can delete a row, you can add a column or delete a column. If I want to add a column, the column you have highlighted, it will insert that column to the right of the column you have highlighted. If you want to insert a new row, the row that you have highlighted is going to insert a new row below. And I will show you. And then, and you'll see it added a new column to the right of the column I had highlighted. Same thing here. I'm going to highlight year one. Oops. And it's going to add it below. You can also import a salary schedule. So if your district has a salary schedule that you use to place your teachers in an Excel document, you can import that Excel document. It has to match basically the template that Visions uses. And if you're not sure of that, you can basically, let me go and save first before I do anything. Open up my schedule. So here's pretty much what my template's going to look like. So treat this as if it's an Excel document. If you right click on your grid, export to Excel, you're going to see you can use this. So you can start putting your amounts, your salary amounts. It's not going to matter if you enter headers and rows. Whatever you have there, that will not import. It'll import your spreadsheet. However, you'll have to rename it in the actual salary schedule. And you'll notice that if you already have one that's saved, be sure that this first cell of your spreadsheet is blank. If it is not, you'll most likely get an error when you try to import. So I already have a salary schedule that is saved. So back to Andy's regular salary schedule. We're going to go and import a salary schedule. Yes.
Go to C, logo. MC support. Salary schedule. Boom.
There we go. There's my spreadsheet. And boom, there it is. So you'll see that when I imported the column headers and the rows has its own name. We want to go in there and we can rename those headers, the columns and the rows. Okay, make sure you give it enough time to generate and click OK to save your salary schedule. You're going to get back into your salary schedule. And let's go, I don't know, we'll just do a few. ABC. Or of course, highlight what you want to modify. I didn't save it, so get back in. My mouse jumping. Okay. I renamed my columns. I can also rename my rows. I showed you guys how to do that on the other salary schedule. So once I make that change, click OK, save your salary schedule. You're gonna get back in. And now we want to go and we're going to copy this schedule to your projection tab. So if you go to actions, copy schedule to projection. Click OK. And if you jump over to your projection tab, you'll see that it's now moved your salary amounts to your projection tab. So now we'll need to go into positions and pay and assign the salary schedule to employees. We will see that I'm only going to pick one. We're going to go to Jane Doe. And you'll see that she,
Already have it on it, already there.
do you have it? Oh, okay. You'll see that she does not have a salary schedule. So we're going to open her up.
There it is.
All right. We're going to go to actions and we're going to set salary schedule. I'm going to go find my salary schedule. Place her. Let's just place her at step 2, ABC. Click OK. And you'll see now that she has the salary schedule assigned. Don't forget your Skittle button. Did it do it?
Mhm.
Okay. Click OK.
What is the term skittle before you skedaddle?
skedaddle. Do you wish to proceed? Yes. And you change your reason for your change. And once your record saves, then you want to go back into your salary schedule. So if I had a list of employees that I was assigning or linking that salary schedule to employees, I want to go back into my regular salary schedule. And now I want to go back to actions and update current amount on linked positions. Let's think. And then don't forget, we're going to save. Am I moving along with those notes? Save. Open your salary schedule back up. Now we're going to move to our positions tab. The positions tab is where it's going to show you what employees, how many employees are attached to this particular salary schedule. So here I have one employee. If you double click, the blue text is a hyperlink, and you'll see here that I have one employee here. You can move your columns wherever you want, just like you would do in a regular grid. You can filter them, whatever you need to do to view those employees. You'll see I have 5 employees here. Same here, and this will pull vacant and filled positions, but not closed positions. You move on to your projection tab, just shows here that when you copied your schedule to your projection, it shows those amounts. But if you're going to apply a formula to these amounts, for example, when you want to generate contracts and you want those, you're going to pull from your projection fields to run your contracts in current year, and you need to update those salary amounts. You could either highlight a column if these employees are going to be moving to a different salary, or you can highlight your entire, all your columns. And for example, we're gonna apply a 3% increase to these employees. So we're gonna, to apply a percentage, you wanna use times. So you're gonna use your asterisks for times. If you're gonna add a flat dollar amount, say $1,000 to each of those employees, you're gonna use a plus sign, and so on. So for this one, we're gonna use 3%. And we're gonna take our decimals out. Usually with salaries, teacher salaries, it's a flat amount. So you wanna enter 0 in the decimals. You'll see here, look at your first column, it's at 35,000. When I apply it, it is moved to 3650. Click OK to save. And now your projections are all set. You can go back into your positions and pay to make sure those updated. And then in the projection positions, pretty much the same as the positions tab. You can double click, view the employees that you have listed that are attached to that particular salary schedule. FTEs. Where's my FTE tab? Is pretty much the same thing. You'll be able to view what positions are attached to that salary schedule. Was it projection positions? Yes, okay. So back to projection positions. If you had an employee who had, say, professional development and you want to apply that increase to that employee for the next school year, you want to go to actions, display all positions. And it's going to show all the employees that are listed, that are attached to this particular salary schedule. And if I want to go and view them by name, you can find them, whether you select all of them, only select one. I want to apply an increase to Jane Doe because she completed professional development. I'm going to select her record actions, and then I'm going to select whether she's going to move right, down, up, or left on the salary schedule. If you want to move your employees, that's how you will move them. Like I said, FTEs is pretty much the same. You double click on the hyperlink and it'll tell you how many employees are attached to that salary schedule. Projection FTEs, kind of repetitive. The rules tab, the daily rate calculation, it's a rate based. This is a little more detail. We don't have a whole lot of time to go over, but if you need help in setting this up, give us a call. We'll go over on what is best for your district. But if you have this checked based on work calendar, you'll see you won't be able to type in the schedule days. Pay basis, it's salary or hourly. We're working off a salary schedule. So I'm selected salary. Or if you want to enter schedule days, uncheck this and then it'll open up this field here. Auto step. This is to move so the system will automatically move your employees up or down, left or right on the salary schedule. To enable this, you'll check the box, you'll select what you need. However, you'll see here on the options that it gives you, it's based on hire date. These are the dates that they have available, but in Arizona, increases usually happen fiscal year, so July 1st. This would not be an option, but if you feel like this could be an option for your district, this is available.
So could you use this if you had, say, an hourly rate schedule and you were doing a minimum wage increase? If you had employees that were on minimum wage, could you set an advance date to increment that on January 1? Do you think?
Well, I don't think if you, Andy, go ahead and select advance date. Go ahead and flip that. So you're limited to the dates you can select. It's
so you can't
referring back to employee maintenance.
Oh, okay.
That was the drawback. I was trying to figure a way to tweak it in, and there really isn't.
So you'd really have to update all of the employee maintenance with an advance date and then make sure they were on that salary schedule for it to work.
Right, and you'd have to go with like the next period and run it the pay period before so that it would do it on January 1st.
Oh, okay.
So you probably could, if they were all on the same schedule, you probably could using the next period, but it's a timing issue now.
Oh, okay.
And that's all, folks. Anybody have any questions on a regular salary schedule? Any questions on the chat? No? Okay. I'm gonna hand it over to Jill. That will be going over min-max and.
Put the other document up, Mike.
Oh, yours.
You're
notes.
fine, you're fine, you can move that. We're wheeling in and out of the picture, folks. Hello, everybody. So, let's see. Yes, what I'm gonna do is go over the min-max, and then I'll touch on single lane at the end of this. Basically, whoop, this mouse, sorry, gotta get them right. Creating a salary schedule, Andy went over it. It's pretty much the exact same thing. Once you start to name it, you'll notice it fills in, assuming that you're having a regular salary schedule. When you select the dropdown, it actually then changes the look to be the specific. Min-max can only have 2 rows, can have as many columns as you want. Works the same exact way. You can highlight it and rename it. You can add a column. You can take away a column. You can type in them, your dollars, tab through. Works the same way. The only difference is you cannot rename, nor can you add rows. It is a min and a max. I'm going to show you real quick for the single lane, because we will be addressing the single lane. It drops it to a single column. Similar to the min-max, you can only have a single lane column. You can have as many rows as you want. You can rename the rows. You can rename the column, but you will only have 1 column on a single lane. And when you go to min-max, you're only going to have 2 rows and all the columns you want. That's setting it up. I'm going to go into ones we've already created so I don't have to reopen. Okay, so here I labeled my columns. This is a salaried min-max schedule. So I went in and labeled my columns to where I wanted them to be. It works similar, but you can't modify the exact amount between that. Let me move where I want to go. Remember, it's really quirky. Anytime you make a change, if I go in here and I go to my actions and rename my column, I'm going to have to get out again. So remember that part because it's kind of quirky. When you're setting up a min-max schedule, it works a little different. For regular, you have positions that have ranges and cells, and you put them all in a specific cell going up and down the salary schedule. On a min-max, you have to place them in between. The other issue is with a regular salary schedule, it does a lot of factoring. A min-max doesn't really allow you the same ability to factor the positions to calculate their starting and ending variations like a regular schedule. You normally have to go into the position and make that change. However, there is the ability to do this with a min-max schedule by using what's called a full annual. A full annual can only be on a pay basis of a salary. So you'd have to have here on the rules tab, set your pay base to salary, check the full annual box. And at this point, it now gives you the ability to factor the salary just like a regular schedule. It will look at when you first put the salary schedules and link them, which I cannot do this mid-year. If I attempt to save this right now, you cannot. A full annual can only be done at the following a rollover. And I think I have, let me just really quick, wrong mouse. Hold on, I got 2 screens going here. Where's my full annual? Sorry. Down. Find it here. It's full annual. So full annual can only be done after rollover right there. You have to do your payroll rollover before the first period is posted and before your work calendars and positions are updated. You cannot change one middle of the year. So we do have a couple, but full annuals. What happens when you select the full annual is the system puts the base rate set to wherever you put it on your min-max range. On the position and pay tab, it'll set your base rate to that amount. It'll set your pay to that amount. And now you have the ability to function just like a regular salary schedule. If I have a late start or an early termination, it will change the annual salary without changing the base rate. The base rate will remain where it is. That's the idea of using the full annual. If you have questions about it and you want to do it, remember it has to be after the first year starts, after you do a payroll rollover. I'm going to get out of this one. This one had it checked before. So those positions would have the base rate to the initial set, and they'd be able to factor starting and ending in those functions just like a regular salary schedule. So once you've determined whether you're going to go full annual or a straight min-max, you put in your amounts and then you have to link positions. When you go up here, you do not have the ability to do any linking from the salary schedule when you're in a min-max. To link, you have to go into positions and pay, like Andy showed you, and you have to attach somebody to the salary schedule. Once you attach them to the salary schedule, then you have the ability to see them here. You will not be able to link or update links, but they will then appear on your positions. Position tab works the same exact way. When I click on this, it's going to show me everybody assigned to that column. Remember, the salaries are all going to be different. And in this screen, yes, I can pull them by name, but the only dollar amount you can see on this grid is the budget. That's it. Shows the budget, which does get set when you first place them on the salary schedule. When I go and assign them in positions and pay, and I select the range where I'm putting them, it will fill in the budget tab as well as the position tab. That's the only information you're going to see from here. You can throw that out into Excel. Your actions, pretty much all you can do is copy them to the current links. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And you're going to save because it's quirky. Remember, everything you do save is not your friend, but it's there all the time. I'm also going to copy my schedule to my projections so that we can mess with those two tabs. Did it do it? Yeah. Okay, go back in. So we now have our schedule and positions, and if I go to projection, there's the projection, and my projection positions are filled in. On a min-max schedule, if you want to use projection for your contracts, it doesn't change your grid at all. When you use projections on a min-max, now we will do that. I'm going to work on the Jill's salary one. I'm going to go in and apply a formula, and I'm going to give everybody an even $1,000 raise. So you'll use your plus $1,000. I'm gonna set it to 0 because I'm working on a salary, and typically salaries you don't have cents. When I click OK, oops, my bad. Shift, hold them. I want to give everybody.
You're so generous.
Right? $1,000 is a good, just because COVID friendly. I'm going to click OK. Everything's been updated, but if you'll notice, my screen Nothing has changed. What will have changed is if we went into positions and pay. Couple of things to know about positions and pay. When you're dealing with projections, you have to check next year amount. Next year amount is what Visions knows is your projection. If you don't have that clicked, it won't show up. I do also have a grid layout. I'm going to load that so that we can see the salary fields easier. Boom, and here is my. It'll come in a second. There
It
we go.
really is like a user group meeting.
Wow, this is like freaky, right? I'm gonna filter on my salary. So what it will do, and I can go do it again, so you'll see, here's some rates and amounts for people. If I sort this by my smallest one, $40,000, I'm gonna go back into my salary schedule and I'm gonna give them another raise. I'm gonna go to the projection tab. Oh, I didn't look at my projections. Hold on, we were looking at the salaries. I want you to see projections. Wow, this is really slow. This is the tab that's going to change. Their budget, their amounts will not. This is the tab you'll see change. So most people are at some good even amounts. Go into here.
Can you give them a percent raise?
I can. So would you like a percent? Sure. Let's give them a 10% raise or 5. We'll go 5 because I want somebody to max out.
So really quick, make sure that we point out that the formula to apply is 1.05 for a 5% raise.
Right.
Because if you put 0.05 in there,
Everybody gets a decrease.
you're gonna, there will be employees outside of your office with pitchforks and tiki torches and all that jazz because they will be coming after your head.
Whenever you're doing a multiplying for a formula here for their salaries, you always have to do 1 to start with a R. So 1.05 will take their salary and increase it by 0.05. Now, I also have maximums here. When you apply a formula, if somebody, that formula, oh, I did it on my schedule. I just gave everybody a really big live raise, live and in person right now. So when you give a projection or a schedule change, because now we're going to see that on a min max, if somebody was at or close to the maximum, they will stop at the maximum. So let's just go see what this did to my peeps. I just gave them all a nice raise.
And I'm pretty sure somebody's actually done that before on accident, so don't feel bad.
Right. I have to reload the grid. So now we have some bigger raises because as you can see, remember, even these 40s were there. Okay, and wherever you see, I don't see any 999, so apparently nobody maxed out. But the concept is there. I'm gonna go back into my projections so that we're working in projections. So point being is when you do a projection, when you do a formula and you want to do a projection to issue your contracts or whatever, you're not gonna see a change here. If you know that you need to increase your ranges because next year, the people who are new hires, we're going to start them and carry them to maybe 50,000. You do need to change these amounts so it will properly give them the projection that you're asking. If not, it will max them out. Okay. Projection positions, same as positions. Shows you how many positions are tied to each cell. This is positions, not FTEs. because you'll notice here I have a 1.875, where in positions I had 3. It's because I have 3 people tied to that. One person has no FTE, one person has 1, and then a 0.875. So the positions tell you the number of people tied to it. The FTE tells you the total FTE on that cell. Projection FTEs is the same thing. You can throw these out into Excel. You can double click and throw it out into Excel to give you some more information. And now we're going to go to the rules tab. So the rules tab, when you're in a min-max schedule, some of this does have issues. Let's see. So first of all, let's talk about this based on a work calendar. By default, keep going up. By default, when you create a salary schedule based on work calendar will always be clicked. Keep going. However, if you want, when you base it on a work calendar, it takes their annual salary, it divides it by the number of days on their work calendar to come up with a daily rate. That is the standard. That is what based on a work calendar means. There could be instances when you want this salary schedule to be based on days. In that case, you would uncheck this, and that's when you set your days. If I put this for 200 days, it would take whatever salary I have here and a min-max wherever they are, and it would say that salary is for 200 days. To come up with their daily rate, you're going to take that salary and divide it by 200 days, therefore overriding your work calendar. At this point, it no longer cares what the days are on the work calendar because it's basing it by this schedule number that you put here to come up with a daily rate. Again, it's going to override your work calendar. It will no longer matter. And this does affect everywhere a calculation is done. All your supplementals, your positions, your pays, because it's looking at this scheduled day. If you really want to look into doing this, let us know. Be happy to sit with you and go over it. It works on a regular, works on a min-max, doesn't matter. Uncheck this, check this. You're now going on salary day, on scheduled days. Next would be our full annual. Full annual is available for a min-max. It is only available for salary. Even though hourly is here, you notice when I go to hourly, no longer is full annual there. This pay basis needs to match the salary schedule that you've set up. In this case, it's a salary, so I need to have it salary. If it was an hourly, I would have that say hourly. The full annual becomes an option when it's a salary. Let's talk about converting. I'm going to refresh your memory again. If you have a current, this is my current salary schedule, and I've decided that I want it to go full annual, so it will do the factoring like a normal salary schedule. It has to be done after payroll is rolled over, before the first payroll, and before the work calendars and positions are updated. If you want to look into this, when your fiscal year rolls over, very first thing you do is work on that salary schedule before you do anything else. Again, if you want to work through it, let us know. Be happy to go over that with you as well. Now we go into the auto step. On a min-max schedule, not even an option because people don't move steps like a regular schedule. If you noticed when we were back over here on our schedule and our positions, I can't move anybody. I can't display all. Not an option when you're on min-max. Min-max, to change somebody, you can do it as a projection. It will change it in their projection, and then you can go and move them in positions and pay. We good so far? Any questions? So hourly min-max, same way, when my system catches up. Only difference is you're going to put their hourly rates in here. It's going to show you the same thing, the amount of positions. Your projection tab will be the same. If I want to do a projection here, again, it's going to copy that over to the projection tab in positions and pay. It will change the rate to whatever I change it here. Remember to think about your cents because now you're working in hourly, so you might want to remember to have your decimals on. And it'll copy it over. I'll show you real quick. When you go into positions and pay, I do have my grid already set, so let me undo my last filter, bring in the hourly people. Oh, what is this name up there? I wanted to go to positions and pay. In a moment, let my screen load. We're going to check next year amount. We're going to load the grid. Logged in as you. All right, well, that's all right too.
It just means it's even better.
It's even better because I don't have the grid layout saved. So now it's going to just take me a little while, a few minutes. There's our salary schedules. Filter. Okay. Great. And our projections. And you're seeing how to filter your grid just in case you didn't have it. So all the changes, I think I was on, just wanted to show you where the information comes over here. There's your projection tabs. When you go into the position, the budget gets filled in when you first attach to a min-max schedule. It automatically takes wherever you put them on that range and it brings it here on the budget tab. It also puts it here in the amount spot. And then when you do a full annual, it fills in this base rate right here with the same set range where you put them on that salary schedule. And then the factoring here will change as their higher dates. And your projections will fill in when you use your projections, setting your projections and change them. All of that is available to see on the grid. Now we're going to go look at a single lane. So I have a single lane here that I've set up already. Single lane, again, I can only have one column. You can rename it. You can, just like you can rename a normal salary schedule, but I can have rows and I can have as many rows as I want. Some people do a single lane by employee. If you have 1,500 employees, I don't know if that's a direction I'd want to go in, but a very smaller district might. You can also have a single lane for positions. If you wanted to create a single lane salary schedule for your supplementals, for your stipends that you do, coaches and things like that, it might come in handy. On a single lane, you rename them to whatever makes sense to you and put in your dollar amount. It functions very similar to a regular salary schedule, with the exception of there is no movement, like the min-max. There is no other places to move somebody. You can't move them over, up or down. If you want to make a change to them, you can use your projections. So if I copy this over, copy my links. I'm going to update my schedule here.
So while that's loading, why would you use a single lane?
I like the idea of a single lane for some supplementals, because now your supplementals, you go to the governing board for a lot of your stipends and have them approved. You can put your stipends on here and attach them as they're doing their supplementals. I do know of some districts that use them for their employees. Now, there is a quirk, if I haven't gotten into it, the single lane schedule has a feature in it that's really cool, and it's called a roll-up. What it does is it enables you, if I have a person on a position tied to this single lane schedule, I can give them supplementals, for example, a professional growth. And that professional growth, when I do my fiscal rollover next year, I can set it to roll into their salary. It'll add it to it and change the lane. That could be a huge benefit when you're on a smaller district. Again, I don't know if I'd want to do it for 1,500 employees. I have a person, let me show you what I mean. When you go into positions and pay, we have Miss Lisa Barnhill. So she's a coach. This is her position right here. She has a supplemental. Let me get some descriptions up here. So I have this supplemental that she went and did professional development. And her professional development is going to increase her salary for the next few, from this point, this year forward. You create a supplemental and it has to be attached to a salary schedule. Doesn't matter what salary schedule, but it does need to be attached to a salary schedule. And way over here on the pay option tabs, there's this fiscal year roll into. You select and unselect. By selecting the position, if somebody has multiple positions, they're all going to show up in here. By selecting the position you want, when I do the fiscal year rollover, it will take this amount for this supplemental and it will add it to their pay and increase them on their salary schedule. So that is a really cool piece on a single lane salary schedule. Yes, it is cumbersome. You can import it to set it up. And it's, like I said, it's one person, one thing per lane, but it has its benefits. The system, when you do use a single lane and when it does do the fiscal year rollover, on that fiscal year rollover part, it doesn't automatically update the funding and distribution. You do need to do that and make sure you generate the work calendars again, because it's made a change and it's given everybody a raise, or those people on that row. As you see, I have it tied to specific people. I could go in and give them a raise here on the projection tab and change just them like a regular salary schedule. I could roll their positions into that piece. I could have it do a roll up on a supplemental. So single lane has its benefits. There's times when I can see it being used. Again, it's what your district's more comfortable with. So you have multiple options when you're doing your salaries. Consider that when you've rolled over to the new year. I don't suggest you do a lot of playing around with salaries in your current year, because you can hose your payroll very fast. If you want to experiment with them, do a rollover, create a provisional, look at it in your provisional, create some new salary schedules. If you want to talk about any of these in detail, if you're thinking about maybe setting up something, let us know. Give us a call. We'll work with you, show you the ramifications, talk through it. And remember, you do it when you roll over. If this is some of these you want to look at, full annual, great idea on a min-max salary for the factoring position. Single lane works great for those supplementals that are consistent. You went to the governing board and they approved, these are the supplemental pays for the various types of stipends we have. Great, throw them on a single lane and you can attach those supplementals. So each one has its own benefits. What's going to work best for your district. So that's it. Like I said, we don't have a handout, and yay, when you watch the recording, we have quite a few little quirks. The gerbils were going wild today and I don't think they're done. So it's going to be a fun. He's going to stop that sharing. So any questions, anything you want, let us know. I think we're kind of good. Come over here. Oh, which way are we? Oh, gotta go this way.
No, we'll just go to the big one.
Oh, there we go. We're scooting our chairs all over.
So in case you're wondering, like, oh my God, they're not wearing any masks. We either have all been vaccinated or all have already had COVID. So we are about as
COVID-free.
hermetically sealed as you can get. So, and if you were working with our office, if you're one of the districts we host, you probably know those times or those periods over the past year where we're like, hey guys, we need to change our check printing schedule. Yeah, that was because we were all sick. So I wouldn't recommend that as the way to go on my own personal recommendation to you guys. But thank you, Jill and Andy, for putting together a salary schedules presentation. This was actually meant to be sort of a two-parter presentation because as we kind of went down the rabbit hole of talking about salary schedules, it came up, well, like, okay, well then how does that interact with work calendars? And how does that interact with pay cycles? So there's actually a second mini session scheduled right now. It's for, I believe, the beginning of May. We kind of have that on our calendar. So again, if you're not on the mailing list, check the chat. Make sure you're signed up. If you didn't get the email for this class, it means you're not on the mailing list. So go ahead and check that. And the question came out, how does it interact with contracts? Salary schedule projections are a huge portion of contracts. If you check the YouTube channel, Andy did a great session on contracts a month or two ago, touched on salary schedules and using projections for that. So check onto that, but we'll kind of go into how it works with work calendars and pay cycles and such. After spring break, we don't have a whole lot going on for March because spring break, everyone takes spring break the second week or the third week of March. So we kind of scheduled our mini session for the fourth week of March. Again, those are purchasing and payable requisition approvers. And then the other one is vendor maintenance cleanup. I looked that up. So we actually have mini sessions scheduled out through the end of May right now. So make sure you're on the mailing list so you get notified. And we'd love to have you in our sessions. Again, thank you everybody for coming. Again, thank you, Jill. Thank you, Andy, for putting together a presentation. I know you guys put a lot into it this week. I think it worked really well, other than all the gerbils. I will say as a disclaimer, Jill just got her laptop like 2 days ago. We finally got it working and Andy came in and none of her stuff worked at her desk. And
This
then,
morning.
and then we came down to the tech center here and their wireless network didn't work. So it was just one thing after another. But again, we are reflecting what happens in a true user group setting because every user group I've been into, it's been just a ridiculous amount of problems coming up. So that's just the way it is.
Roll with it.
Yeah, you just roll with it and you move on. So thank you everybody for joining us. We hope to see you again in after spring break. Enjoy your spring break. Make sure you go get yourself vaccinated and be safe out there. Thank you, everybody. What is that supposed to mean? What do you mean I don't look like a county employee? What, I'm supposed to be asleep or something?
No.
I don't like you anymore, Jean-Claude.
Uh-oh.
Get out of here.
You just lost a coffee, but
What are you talking about? Your nails?
Color Street nails.
Color what?
Nail polish that comes already orange.
So like a press-on nail.
But it's polished.
So like cheap press-on nails.
No.
My assumption is whenever I go to present in a new location, my assumption is just nothing works.
Right.
Everything is just crap and nothing works. My favorite though, my favorite time ever is at the ASBO summer conference. They couldn't get the projector to work. And I was sitting there, I was messing around with it and they had, it was, you've been Star Pass, it's got the nice setup and the cable claws and the little runners over the cables so everything's hidden and nobody trips. And I'm messing with the projector. I'm like, why isn't this freaking thing working? And I'm checking the plug in the back of the projector and I'm following the cable and then following the cable and it goes under the carpet and I move the carpet and then it turns around and it comes back and it comes back and I follow it and I follow it and they plugged the damn projector into itself. I was like, what the f